Hey all, it's Dinosaur, and just wanted to say, good evening. I know it's kind of late, but I'm just gonna try to get something done before I gotta go to bed and go to work tomorrow morning. Um, I wanted to talk to you about a film that I just saw this weekend called Faults in Our Stars, which was a fantastic film, a very realistic film, but it was almost like too realistic. It was it just it's the story revolves around how in Hollywood we look at the stars. The stars are supposed to guide us and everything, and have the fairy tale endings. But that's not exactly what this film is about. What this film is about was the struggles of three people, actually one person, and the lives which she touches, the cancer. Yes, her name is Hazel Grace, and she has cancer, and I believe it was first it was thyroid, but now it's moved into her lungs, where her lungs get saline in them or liquid, and they have to drain them occasionally on that. It is a probably one of the most realistic portrayals of cancer in a theater, but what it is she goes on, tries to have a normal life, but she can't because she's always bolted with this oxygen mask on her face all the time. And people, are having normal lives and everything seems to be going good, but then she doesn't get that. She just struggles, and her parents tell her, go to the support groups and everything. And she keeps reading this one book called The Imperial Affliction that has this ending where it kind of stops and it doesn't happen, or the ending. And what the whole story is on she finds a boy at the cancer at one of the support groups that she starts to become friends with, and this boy actually lost his leg in a whole other cancer, which they thought they got it all, but later on you find out they didn't. And this boy and this girl develop this relationship, and then they all go talk about this book, and the whole thing talks about this book on what happens at the end of this book that doesn't know. Well, in life's ironic twist, things are not always what they seem. She used her make a wish because she has cancer to go to Disneyland. He didn't use his yet. So he used his wish to contact this author and try to find out what happened at the end of this book. And what's interesting about this is it's really the whole story. I mean, it's so complicated to explain, but basically, the whole film centers around death and destruction, or just death, and sometimes not even death, just crippling blindness. One of the characters could see in the film, but during the film he lost his right eye and he was now blind, and his girlfriend broke up with him right before he went totally blind, and that's harsh. But I see why she did it. She did him wrong, but I get it. I get why she did it. Young love, but it didn't stop him. But this other boy on that Augustus, as they call him, and then Hazel starts talking about this book, talking thing, and then he invites her out to picnics and describing the book and everything. And the whole quest is to go to Amsterdam to get this author. Well, they finally get the arrangements to go to Amsterdam, but the doctors are saying no to what's her name, Hazel, to go because of her lung condition, and it's too dangerous. But they go anyway. they say, screw this, we're going. They get on the plane, they go, and they do a lot of texting, instant messaging on iPhones. That's constant with the film. But they go to Amsterdam, and they actually, the couple, falls in love, and then finds the doctor. Or no, not the author. And they find this author, and this author is just a drunk, and he's given up on life, and he's given up on people. And the thing is, though, that's not the last time, well, it's not the last time that Hazel will see him. She'll see him one more time, and there's something I want to talk about really quick, because he brought a lot of people, when I saw the film, said he was a complete asshole. And then later on in the film, you see him again, and then you find out why. And you find out he's not an asshole, he's eccentric, and he's trying to tell them the truth, and he's trying to tell them of both belief in moral ethics and human ethics, and what happens. And what happened is they come back, they fall in love, and the Augustus gets diagnosed with a high level of stage 4 cancer, and it's just days. And what's funny about the phone is you hear the iPhone go off and off and off, and you're so used to instant messages. Then one day, the iPhone didn't go off. The regular home landline went off, and she knew he died that day. And, that's how death often appears. I didn't think about that till I saw the film, but that's how people are usually notified when someone dies. Because I know when I was young, a lot of those phone calls came in the middle of the night with the phone ringing, and it was not electric, it was a ring saying, I'm sorry, this happened. And, just seeing that, going, wow, and the film was really, I would say, as the actors and the chemistry and the music and the sound played a big factor in it, because they took deep bass, they bring intensity and sad music when something really sad is, but you find yourself sad during most of the movie. Because of what these kids are going through. But what was so interesting is they weren't sad. They were moving. They were going forward, and they were dealing with the reality of their conditions, and which was just admirable of them. And even this one Augustus kid who eventually dies, he is fought to the end to live, and it just wasn't enough. So here's the thing. At the end of the movie, or close to the end of the movie, the author appears one more time to Hazel. And she is infuriated at him because of how she was treated in Amsterdam. And he tells her, I had a correspondence with Augustus before he died. And you know what? We came to an understanding. And then she's like, get out of my car, because this was her boyfriend that she lost. And he hands her this piece of paper and says, you ought to read, before he hands her the piece of paper, he says, have you ever heard of something called the trolley problem? Because this is exactly what this is. And she starts getting angrier at him, and he's like, I'm here because he asked me to. You ought to look at this letter. And she grabs it, crumples it up, throws it on the seat of the car, and then he's like, and she said, get out. And it's like, fine. And then he goes out and drinks her, toasts her and drinks her. And that's the last you see of the author. But then later on, the blind friend then says how much Augustus talked about her, but then he says, hey, did you meet that author? And she goes, yeah, he's an asshole. He says, no. And then he explained to her that the Augustus and this author have been talking, and the letter was from Augustus to her from the author to know it was legit. Now, and what's funny is kind of a Hollywood ending because she's looking at the stars, holding the letter, and realizing it was his way of reaching from the stars to get asshole this asshole. Well, he's not really an asshole, so he's eccentric. You've got to understand the personality. Um, I really felt this film was fantastic. Definitely Oscar worthy. Even for guys, it was a really hard film not to get choked up about. It was because it dealt with some. It wasn't like violence. It wasn't like someone died from gunshots. This is cancer stuff, and this stuff just doesn't forgive. And it's hard to deal with it unless you're kind of, it doesn't matter what level survivor you are, if you've been touched by it, you kind of know. You know what they're going through. And even in the theater when I was there were people crying in the theater. It was amazing. And that they were it was that powerful. I don't think I've ever been in the theater other than maybe Saving Private Ryan, where I heard people like crying, and it was mainly old vets that were still alive from that. Because I was privileged to be in a theater, I think, with two World War II vets that were at D-Day on that, and they were crying because how real it was, the beginning was. But anyway, that's off the subject. What I want to talk to you all is about the trolley problem. The trolley problem has two parts into it. It's really simple. There's an out-of-control trolley. The first version of the trolley problem is that the trolley's coming down. You're standing at the lever. There's two choices. When you look down the tracks, you see the straight track. There's 5 people tied to the track. If you let the trolley go, it's going to run over the 5 people and kill them. There's a guy on the right. There's another track with only 1 person on it, but they're not tied to it on that. But you have no time to warn him. So the choice is whether you let the trolley go and kill 5 people, or you switch the lever and kill 1 person. Okay? Now, the second version of the trolley problem is this. There's an out-of-control trolley with 5 people on board the trolley. You see a human being big enough to stop the trolley on that. You are allowed, it's out of control, and there's 2 solutions here. The first solution is that you either allow the trolley of 5 people to run out of control and probably to their death, or the second solution is to push the guy on front of the trolley to stop the trolley, thus killing the 1 person you pushed. Now here's the kicker. Which one is more socially acceptable? The pulling the lever or pushing the guy? And that's the whole trolley problem. And that's what the author was trying to point out to her. That what was going on here was Augustus was was essentially pushing himself out, pushing essentially kind of in a way, pushing himself out or even switching the lever out to save her, to get her the answer she needed. And it was himself. He essentially allowed himself to be sacrificed to get the answer she wanted at the end of this book. I don't think she ever got him, but that's what the whole trolley problem was. It's very similar to the paradox of the Mad Bomber, where a Mad Bomber has laid ticking time bombs all over the city, and as law enforcement you have a choice. You either release the Mad Bomber and let the bombs go off and kill civilians, or you break the law to torture the Mad Bomber to tell you where the bombs are. It's very similar. I just think the trolley problem is more interesting though, whereas pulling the lever or pushing the guy. That's very interesting. But anyway, this is Gustav. Hope you all enjoyed it. More later.